the evening. We have an interesting duo, Ashraf Alzadjali and Paddy Kennedy, who both bring you close to 80 years of experience in the field of teaching, coaching, speaking, and consulting. And I'd like to congratulate them for opening their firm recently, Ashraf and Kennedy Consultancy. It's based in Dubai with offices in Sohar and Oman in Muscat. And they are thinking into results consultants with the Proctor Gallagher Institute under the tutelage of the Grand Master of Personal and Professional Development, the famous Bob Proctor. And it is a great joy to present tonight a glimpse into the Thinking into Results program. So they will be talking about the program, and they would be happy to take any questions on how you could participate in this cutting edge program at the end of their session. And with that, I will open the floor to Ashraf and Paddy. Welcome once again to Brainciti, and it's over to you.
Thank you very much. Is it okay if we click the, we want to be able to screen share? We're getting a message here that this will stop other screen sharing. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure. Well, let us begin, first of all, by telling you what a wonderful, it's a privilege for us to be here. I'll let my master here take care of this as we get our slideshow ready.
Mindset is everything, you know, free seminar. No.
Oh.
Hi, I think there is somebody who's speaking. You just go on mute.
So let us just say, it is really a great joy, first of all. And it's a great honor, and it's our privilege to be with you this evening. We're very much looking forward to sharing to you just a small glimpse now into the Thinking into Results program that we are both consultants for. We've called this evening's presentation Mindset is Everything, because we really want to talk about the mind and how that our mind can be our best friend, or our mind can be the biggest obstacle that we face. And that's really what Thinking into Results is all about. Now, before we start, we'll just ask Ashraf here now to stop sharing this, and let's take 7 minutes to watch the master himself, Mr. Bob Proctor. And of course, the video has disappeared, so we just call it up through our email, okay? And I will just, so go into our email there, yeah, and you'll find it. There it is. Now, how come, so go back to share. We were having this little issue before, and we thought that we got it fixed. So now what happens if we click there? Is he there? He should be there. There we are, right there. Okay, technology. You know, when you have 80 years experience, it's great, but it also tells you that we're old, and we're not the savviest when it comes to technology. So let's listen to Bob speak on imagination, because imagination is the greatest tool, the most powerful tool in all of creation. So let's listen to Bob. Let us know if you can't hear it. We believe we have our volume set properly. Go ahead, please, Ashraf.
Okay. One thing about Bob, that we are really thankful that we have this course taken by him personally, and he is coaching us live every month. And we have also, I think today you're going to miss
We're going to miss one of his sessions, but that's okay.
That's right.
It'll be recorded. He's 87 now, and he's still going strong. So we are young compared to the master. Away you go, please.
Okay.
Ashraf. Put it on. There we go.
Can you hear?
Can you hear?
Powerful force that the world has ever known. You know,
he's not on the screen. Hang on. He's not on the screen again. Yes, please do. We have help. Help is on the way. In this, Fine, young man. So we need this to be shared. So I don't know why it isn't. We had this trouble before when we were
Stop
setting
sharing,
up.
I think.
Yeah, can you see? Yeah, we have to have that
Stop
camera doesn't
sharing.
fill.
Share the
Okay.
sound. This click you need to do.
Share.
Share sound. And what about
No.
the video itself? Because he's not coming on the screen. He was before.
They imagine what they don't
Remember we
want.
had
They
to see the
imagine
screen?
problems coming.
Can you hear now?
Yes, perfect.
But can you see?
Yes.
Yes,
You can-
yes.
You can see the video.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
can you start it from the beginning?
Okay, let's start at the beginning because we can't see the video there.
That the imagination is the most
Thank you.
marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world has ever known. And you know, the average individual uses the imagination, if they use it at all, against themselves. They imagine what they don't want. They imagine problems coming. Let's begin to use our imagination the way God meant it to be used. It's the greatest creative faculty that we possess, and we can build anything we want with it. I want you to wander around your home or possibly your office and take a look at all of the conveniences that you have there that you didn't have, let's say, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, 25 years ago. Do you know that every one of them, without exception, was first created in the mind of one individual with their imagination? Do you know you can use your imagination to go into the future and bring it into the present? That's what all highly successful people do. They see where they want to go, and then they act like the person they want to become. It was William James from Harvard's advice. He says it's the actor's technique. Act like the person you want to become. How do you do that? Well, you use your imagination, of course. You see, it's a strange phenomena, but the greatest gift we've got is used very well up till the ages of 4 or possibly 5. The little child, we always wonder what's going on in their mind. They're using their imagination. They're building wonderful pictures in their mind. But then they get to school and wham, like that, it comes to an abrupt halt. It's called not paying attention. Daydreaming. Well, what they were really doing was exercising a phenomenal mental faculty. You see, we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. They're for our physical benefit. As long as we're living in a physical body and corresponding with the material world, we will use our sensory factors. But you know, I have a couple of little dogs at home that can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. We've got higher faculties. You have perception, the will, memory, intuition, reason, and imagination. These marvelous tools. We can take our imagination and build an image in our mind of how we want to live. Block out what's going now. Don't let your present results have anything to do with this. Just what you want. And it's with your imagination that you will build it. Everything that we have, the camera that I'm speaking to right now, was first created in the mind of one individual. Think of how our world's changed. You see, we were gifted with these higher faculties. We're God's highest form of creation. We were created in God's image. We were given creative faculties to use. And you know, they're only used by 2 or 3% of the population. It's almost inconceivable that people would wander around with so much power and potential and squander it. See, the average person literally tiptoes through life, hoping they make it safely to death. It's such a shame, and it doesn't have to be that way. Think we have giant corporations and little wee creative departments. And the primary reason for that is the average individual really does not believe that they're creative. Now think. Everyone's creative, and no one is more creative than another. It's just that some have chosen to use their creative faculties to a greater degree than others. Imagination, your imagination. What do you want? How do you really want to live? Build the picture in your mind. There's a power that is flowing to and through you. A creative, unadulterated power. It can be photographed leaving your body. Way back in the 30s, Semyon Kurlin, the Russian photographer, perfected a form of photography where you can actually photograph a person's body and you will see the energy glowing from them. Well, that energy flows into your mind. And it's the images you build in your mind that's going to dictate the vibration that this instrument you're living in is in. And the vibration on a conscious level is called feeling. Make certain that you exercise your imagination daily. Build beautiful images in your mind of how you want to live, and then hold those pictures there and live that way. The imagination, the greatest nation in the world, the imagination. You've got one. It's a marvelous creative tool. It deals with the invisible side of your personality. You see, no one will ever really see you. They'll only see your body, and they'll see you the great work that you do. Make certain that your work is great work. And if you keep your imagination alive, keep it active, you're going to have a phenomenal life. You know, life can get better every day, and it will get better every day through the proper use of your imagination. What a wonderful idea. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.
You know, we're going to look at today the reasons why all of us, every person on this planet pretty much, has got obstacles that come in the way and prevent us. I don't know what that was. It's not.
How's everyone feeling today?
Where are we? Just
When I ask you a question,
stop this.
and if it feels right to you, I want you to say super. How's everyone feeling today?
Yeah, sorry about that. Don't know what that was about. So we're going to look today at why is it that we don't use our imagination? Because Bob is right. We all have one. Every one of us has one. And you know, everything is created twice. It's first created in our minds, and then it's created through the law of transmutation. It becomes manifest. And how we use our mind, and this is why we say mind attitude, mindset is absolutely everything. So we're just, yeah, can you just make it into the big slide down here? We're having trouble with our mouse. Stop the share. I'm leaving this up to my partner here. It's
Nothing this way. Yes.
yeah, anyone will do. Good, good. Sorry, we apologize for these technical issues. I don't like this mouse. It's not making this into the big thing that we need. I'll just keep talking while we deal with these because we're on very limited time. So what Bob is talking about and why we say that mindset is everything and what we want to look at today is what is it that stops our mind and prohibits us from manifesting what it is that we want. You know, Walt Disney said that if you can see it, you can create it. So I'm really apologizing for this. I don't know why we're having, go to another one, please. Maybe go to this one here and see if that works. We're having a hard time getting this to go to the large size.
Can you see it from here?
Can you see the screen? Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, good. Let's just go on. And if you can see the ones on the side, we apologize. But now is to be a problem when we get to this because we have to get it to be the big So Ashraf, this is what we didn't want to have happen. I think I know what to do. Can you just let's just stop it all. I really am very sorry for this. This is rather embarrassing. Let's close this off and let's just open a brand new one. Let's get rid of him right here. And let's just go to our presentation. I think we had this issue a little bit before, and this is what we had to do. And we had to go in and close everything and start it again, get it set up big.
Okay.
Yeah, but now we can't get to the screen share, you see.
We can share. Yeah.
We'll go here, here's the screen. Yeah, but it's not sharing.
Share
So
this guy.
here, we.
Can you see it?
Where?
I can see it. Share it. Yeah.
Okay. Screen is visible. Can you actually see the slides? Okay, if we can't get it to go big, we'll have a problem with, there we go now. So we're good to go, right? You can see everyone? Okay, so let's talk about, in the little write-up that we sent out a few weeks ago, it was really about how businesses, including businesses and people, we are always putting Band-Aids on symptoms. We never really get to the root of the problem. Do you know that in the United States alone, every year, $63 billion is spent on training employees, and yet profits aren't necessarily going up, as we've seen through COVID. So many things have fallen apart. Spending all this money on training, giving people more and more knowledge and more information, but not giving them the skill set to implement that knowledge. And that's because we're not teaching them how to develop and make manifest this magnificent instrument called the mind. And as you'll learn in our presentation, that the mind, when we ask people, where is the mind? They say it's in the brain. Well, first of all, the mind isn't a thing. The mind is an activity. And that's one of the first things in adjusting mindset that we need to be thinking about, that it's not, the mind is in every cell of our body. So it's not just something in the brain, and it's not a thing, it's a verb, it's an action. And so, we say that success is 5% strategy and 95% mindset. We are operating all the time on paradigms, on habitual ways of thinking that are in our mind. We're going to quickly, because this is a long course, and we're going to try to get through it as best we can in just a few minutes. So let's take a look for a moment at mind, our mind and paradigms, okay? Paradigm is just a fancy word for habitual thinking. It's programming. It's the way that we have been conditioned since birth to think. And even though, as we get on in our years, we discover that one of the things that holds us back from being who we really want to be and having the success that we so desire is because we have these habitual ways of thinking that they're always subconscious. Dr. Thurman Fleet in 1934 came up with what I think is just this wonderful expression. He was the one first that said, the mind is an activity, not a thing. No one has ever seen the mind. In order to gain clarity and eliminate confusion, he said that he would create an image that we can work with. So he came up with, ta-da, the stick person. When you study with Bob Proctor, when you study with us, we go over and over the stick person. So let's take a look at it. The big circle up top is the head. The circle in the bottom is the
I think
body.
if you're changing your slides, we're not able to see it.
You're not able to see our slides? What's going on?
Yeah.
With our
So maybe
production?
you've paused this sharing, maybe?
Oh, Ashraf, it says that we're sharing. Should I be going this way? What?
Can you see it?
You
No,
can't see them at all?
No, the slides are not sharing. We're still at the first slide. So maybe you can stop sharing and
Maybe just stop sharing and just talk.
yeah.
How about that?
No, share it again. That's okay. You can try it
Share it
again.
again.
Yeah.
Really annoying. That's not the way we want
Yeah.
to
Now
do
we
it.
can see the stick person.
Are you
right?
seeing
Or-
them going on? And you can see the stick person. So click on
Yeah.
this. So we have on the top of the circle, we have what we call the conscious mind. I'll do this, okay? And then we have the subconscious mind and we have the body. Now, Bob says that this is the most valuable lesson that he's ever learned, and we agree with him. So let's take a look at it, okay? Conscious mind, subconscious mind, the body. The conscious mind is the thinking mind. It's the educated mind. It's the intellect. These are all the things that we learn in school. The subconscious mind is the emotional mind. And it is the emotional mind is what we use when we put any action. Whenever we put anything to action, we don't usually come from this thinking mind. We tend to come from the emotional mind. With the conscious mind, we can choose. We can accept or reject an idea. If we don't like it, we can say no. If we like it, we can say, yeah, love it. Conscious mind is where all of our ideas originate. They're where our dreams come from. But the emotional mind has to accept whatever it is we give it, because it cannot reject, because it cannot determine the difference between that which is real and that which is imagined. You know, back to Einstein, he said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. You match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not a philosophy. This is physics. We're having a really serious trouble with our slides. So I'm just going to continue to talk just a little bit to give you an idea. You know, when we have an idea and we want to bring it, a dream, and you want to bring it to fruition, you can sit and think and use your logical mind all day long until the cows come home, as my mom would say. It's not going to, you've got to somehow sink it down into the emotional mind. You know, how many of you have been on a diet, or maybe you decided you wanted to quit smoking, or you wanted to do something? So for me, it's a diet. And so I say, okay, I'm going on a diet. And people say, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they see me at a party, at a birthday party, and I'm having a piece of cake. And they say, I thought you were on a diet. And I said, well, yeah, I am. And they said, well, why are you having a piece of cake? And I say, I don't know. Well, really, no, stop and think about that. How am I ever going to achieve what it is that I'm striving for if I don't know why I'm stopping doing what it is I'm doing, the very cause of the problem? So if it's a weight issue and I want to release some weight, then I have to say to myself, well, why am I doing this? Well, because you know why? There is something going on in that subconscious mind from when we were a little tiny baby that has maybe given me a worth issue. Maybe I've got some reason where, even though I really want to lose weight, I don't think I can do it. It's something very deep in the subconscious mind. You know, think of another time when you want to make a dream come true. Anything, going to the gym, New Year's, these are perfect times. We start out with, we've got our resolutions and we're all set to do them. And we start out, we're great for about 3 weeks. And then all of a sudden, I'll go tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Why? Because you see, when we came into this planet, we were just this little perfect little baby, and we didn't really have a conscious mind yet. All we had we were an open vessel, and we had our parents and our culture and our religion, and there's the news, and there's peers, and there's friends. And as we grow up, by the time we're 7, we are so programmed to think of how other people have taught us to think. We're no longer thinking, well, we never had a chance to think, because the subconscious mind, everything just gets filtered into it all the time. And it has no option. It cannot reject. It can only accept what is being given it. And so we go along through life and we have these experiences where we don't know why. We know what we want to do, but we don't know why we don't do it. Well, in the thinking into results work, and we can tell you this is a program that is a very valuable program, but it is a difficult program because you've got to really face, why is it that I don't finish things? Why am I always late? Or why am I always 15 minutes early? Why am I nervous? Why do I behave this way? It's not something that's just happenstance. You know, the ethers above us are filled with positive and they're filled with negative. And what thought is vibration. So whatever we think, I'm not worth it. Boom, that's the vibration that we're going to live in. So then when it comes to why am I eating that chocolate cake, it's not that I don't know. I do know. It's because I'm on a deep, deep, deep level from a conditioning and programming that's been happening to me all my life. I don't really think I can do this because I don't think I'm that good, because I don't think I'm really all that worthy. And listen, I believe in my heart of hearts, there's not a person alive that doesn't have some kind of conditioning, whether it be through culture, family, schooling, religion, news. I mean, if you really want to have a negative day, watch the news and then go to bed. You watch everything that's terrible happening in the world, and then you go to bed and you wake up in the morning, and that's going to be what you wake up to, because the subconscious mind can't say, that news has nothing to do with me. I'm going to stay over here and try to resume a healthy life by altering and changing those paradigms. So as we go along from childhood to adulthood, we are carrying, some people say we're just carrying baggage. And that baggage is what's stopping us. That's the baggage is what's making it difficult for us. And so this is why we say that we have to, it's mindset that matters. We've got to get our mind in such a way that it's operating in the positive. It's okay. That slide that we're missing, is gone. So but I know the slide very well off by heart. So what we want to do in thinking into results is do a lot of series of deep thinking exercises. Thinking. That's how we begin to realize, and we have to have our imagination. And you all know this. I mean, if you have a dream and you want to have a successful company, you have to see it. You have to be able to see it right here when what people call the third eye. It doesn't matter what you call it. You have to be able to see it. And then to begin to change that mindset, as Bob said in that video, you have to imagine that you already have it. You see yourself in possession of that goal. And just to talk very briefly about goals, because Ashraf is going to take over here in a minute. And one of the very first lesson is this worthy ideal, setting and achieving worthy goals. The only way that you can make that goal come true is you have to see yourself in possession of that goal. Now, there are 3 types of goals. And when you study with us and when you study the program, you go further into this. There's the A-type goal. Bob always tells the story of a young man at a workshop he was giving who said, Bob, I wonder if you can help me with my goal. And Bob said, sure, what is it? And the kid said, I want to buy a new car. Bob said, okay, great. What kind of car? He said, I want to buy a Pontiac. He was in the United States. Bob said, well, that's a good goal. What kind of car do you have right now? And the kid said, I got a Pontiac. Bob said, oh, how old is the car? He said, 4 years. He said, how long have you had the car? And the kid said, I've had it for 4 years. And Bob said, well, this is not a goal. It's not a goal should stretch you to the limits to make you become something that you've only imagined, that you've only seen in your dreams. A type B goal is, well, when I get this and I get this and I get this in place, boom, then I'm going to have, that's not a goal either. You got to have a type C goal where the goal is so big that scares you. I know you all have heard this. If your goal doesn't make you shake in your boots, it's not a worthy goal. See, the whole purpose of goals is to grow. That's the whole thing of the personal and professional development industry, is to take us from these paradigms, from these I'm not worth it, I can't do it, all of these things that every human being has because we all live in the same world. And, you know, one person might be timid and one person might be very outgoing. So the way that they present in the world could be different, but underneath it all, we are all the same. We all have fears. We all have paradigms. And this is the mindset that we want to change. So I really want to encourage you to sit for a little while, as Bob said in that movie. If you want to change your mindset, And if you want to be in that 95% of the success, which is in the mindset, and if you want to be in that 2 to 3% of the world's population that actually make their goals and their dreams come true, you must change your mindset. And you begin to do that using your imagination. And using your imagination means you have to think. There's one quotation that we hear a lot. 2% of the people actually think. 3% of the people think they think. And 95% of the people would rather die than think. And this is why people, it's hard work to do this work. You have to take a good, strong inventory. You look at your results. If you're not getting the results you like, why not? You've got to go take a look inside yourself, and you've got to find what is the thinking process, what is the paradigm, the habit. And this also applies to your staff. You can train them, you can spend $63 billion on them. But if you don't teach them how to access themselves and what's blocking them from reaching their greatness, they're never going to fulfill your dream. This course, this program, this way of thinking creates a win-win. This is such an important program for children. You know, we tell children to stop using their imagination. We're daydreaming. No, we should be saying to the children, teach me how to have that imagination. Can I play with you? That's the kind of thing that we have to bring back, that kind of childlike curiosity. I want to hand it over now to Ashraf and the two of us. This is an outline of this program, and we just want to go through it rather briefly, we understand, but to give you an idea of how it is that you can change your mindset so that you can achieve what's in your heart of hearts, your desire to live that life that you only dream about. It's right there. If you can see it, you can have it. Ashraf.
Thank you, Paddy. I think with that explanation, all of us now, I'm now hearing it more than, I don't know how many times I'm taking the same lesson, but it's going to be very easy for us if we're going to think the worthy idea. You know, always like, what is it? Aaron said, the definition of success is progressive realization of a worthy idea. So do we have that kind of courage to do it? And this is what we're going to do now. And this, you will discover ourselves if we're going to go for it. There is different there, knowing and doing gap. So most of us here, we know we have PhDs, master degrees, and BAs, diplomas. That's how we know. But are we doing the talk? Are we walking the talk?
Are we having the chocolate cake or not having the chocolate cake? Because when we have the chocolate cake, we know we shouldn't have the chocolate cake, but we have the chocolate cake, and we want to close that gap.
And this gap is, many people, they say, okay, I'm going to have a PhD and I'm going to do that. PhD is very good for the brain, for everything. But if you go into practice and do your goals, that's what they're going to be. And here, where that gap of doing, knowing, we can and translate it to be doing. So that's one of them, and understand your knowing, doing gap there. The third lesson is going to be that what's going to happen about the result of infinite mind. All of us, I think we think in infinitely. Keep your imagination, go far away where you want to be. I think sometimes many people, they call it, okay, are you crazy of this? Please don't believe them. Because if you're going to be crazy, that means you are a brilliant person. And so many of the inventors, well, now we know they're being called as, all the names.
Thomas Edison was turned down 10,000 times before his light bulb finally went on. Remember, you know, the mind is not a thing, it's an action, it's a verb, it's infinite. If you can imagine it, you can create it.
And this is the secret of genius. And as Paddy explained before, that we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And whatever we store, and that's our storage of USB, that's going to be our what? Subconscious mind. Now, let's go and retrieve that good things from it, not the bad things, but the subconscious mind cannot recognize anything except the behavior and the habit. So therefore, the best thing to do here now to train your subconscious mind to get the results. And here in this module, you're going to learn that your subconscious mind has the ability to change that habit. All of us, we know that habit we cannot change it easily overnight, but we have to go over and over and over. And by God grace, that you're going to take the bad habit and replace it, put it and replace it by a very good habit.
You know, we could say that the conscious mind is where we think, and the subconscious mind is where we believe, and the body is what gets the vibration, either positive or negative, depending on our belief. It goes into our body, it causes a vibration, that vibration takes us to action, and that action takes us to results. So if you're not happy with the results, whether it's your personal life, your business life, your staff, you need to back up, look at this vibration, look up into this vibration of the subconscious mind. And this is where you're going to find the blockage in the mindset, whether it's your own, your children's, your partners, or your business, your clients and or your staff. This is where it all stops. This is what we mean when we say mindset is everything.
Okay.
And, you know, the program is called Thinking into Results. You know, there's a Buddhist expression that I learned many years ago. And I have to tell you, you know, we teach this, we study this, and we are still learning all the time. We are the thinkers of our thoughts. How many times do we say, oh, he made me so mad? He didn't make you mad. You chose to be mad. We must become responsible for our thoughts. And we are the thinkers of our thoughts. So sometimes people can you could just want to, but you have to say, wait a second, this is a reaction. It's my responsibility to keep my mind moving in the direction of my dream and in the direction of my goal, regardless of the circumstances. We must, and I find this, perhaps because I'm North American, maybe you can tell me if you find it in this part of the world. People don't want to be responsible for their emotions. Well, he made me do it. Well, she got me so mad, I lost control. No, and this is why we say 95% of the people would rather die than think. But if you want to reach that goal, and if you want to be in that 2 to 3% of the people who really live the life that they dream of, no matter what the circumstance, you are the thinker of your thoughts. So the environment, you know, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, who wrote a wonderful book called Psycho-Cybernetics, I'm sure many of you have heard of it. It's no mistake that the first chapter in that book is on self-image. And he says we act, behave, and feel according to what we consider our self-image to be. And we do not deviate from this pattern. And this is, again, why you want to deal with those paradigms, because those paradigms, that habitual thinking, you know, some teacher, when I was a young kid in school, you know, I had a very bad head injury when I was 14. And I was in a school where it was all taught by nuns. And the grade 9 teacher made all of us be in a glee club, a singing club. Now you can hear, I have this deep voice. And I had missed a lot of the year because I'd been out with a blood clot on my brain, and I came back to school. I was behind in everything, and I had to go to Glee Club. Now, with this big, deep voice, you know, she put me next to the sopranos. And we were singing from the Sound of Music, Climb Every Mountain. And she put me with the sopranos. I mean, there's no way in the world I could get up there. I'm not even going to try because I'm afraid your computer screens would break. Do you know that I was 14? And until I was in my late 50s, I would never sing. I always wanted to sing. I love singing. I'd sing in the shower, but I would never sing. And finally, one day, I knew a woman who was a jazz singer, and she was giving classes, and she had a voice kind of like mine, deep. And she said, you got to come, you got to change that. So I went and I took singing classes, and we were a group of women, and we formed a choir. And there I was singing with the altos. And I finally broke that belief that I cannot sing. It was a big part of my self-image. It was just one more thing that I couldn't do well. We must find ways if we want to live the life that we have been born to live. And I believe that we are all born to make manifest the glory of the great Creator. It is up to us to improve our self-image, to believe in ourselves, to get rid of those paradigms. I'm not worth it. I'm not smart enough. I'm not enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I can't do it. And your staff feels this too, you know. You could be in a staff meeting and your staff will say, okay, I'll do it. And then they'll go away and they'll go, why in the name of heaven did I say I'll do that? I can't do that. See, if we all did this, just imagine if we all took the time to really get into our true self-image, which is in the likeness of the great Creator. Imagine the world that we could create.
Good. And
The big one, the terror bear.
oh, the terror bear. This is where all of us, we fell in this, that we cannot face the ball by its own. We just flee or we go far away from the problem, and then we give ourselves some excuses that what our brain and they say, oh, we failed. Here, where the terror barrier will give you the imagination or the self-confidence, you can regain your self-confidence. All of us, in some point of our life, we're going to be low, very low in deciding, taking action, and blaming ourselves. In this lesson, you're going to go up and you're going to go and beat the odds.
You're going to face the fear and do it anyway.
Anyway.
And you know, a lot of people have fear of success, and that's where it all comes in. But what I know women who have wanted to lose weight, and they're afraid, what will I become if I lose weight? I'm so used to this is my comfort zones. Comfort zones kill us. They kill us.
And one thing also, sometimes we or people who started now, like say, started with normal life, and most of the psychologists say that people sometimes they are afraid to be rich.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a responsibility, and then they don't have that kind of belief. See, in believing yourself and believing that you have the capability to do things, that's most important. Where people that can see it, and tomorrow you're going to have your project wherever you go, people will see you. So if you're going to believe it in yourself, put it inside you, get it there, and you'll see there is some vibration going on from yourself and going to go straight away to others and going to be contagious, that kind of feeling and that belief.
You know, and something that was in the slide that has mysteriously disappeared. This takes courage. What we're talking about, you have to be brave, to believe in yourself, to step out into that world and believe in yourself. You know, when I first started coaching 50 years ago, I was coaching athletes. I was coaching young competitive figure skaters in Canada, where I'm from. And there was one little girl I coached. Oh my, she was one of the most talented kids ever that I've ever worked with. And every time she would go to take that test, she would just blow it. She would fall. She would put her 2-footer landings when you're supposed to land, you jump on 1 foot. Things that we've worked on over and over. And finally, one day I said to her, what is it? And she said, I'm so afraid that if I don't fail, then I'll have to be better than I am already. And I don't know how to be better than I am. I said, oh, for heaven's sakes, dear, we grow. It takes courage to believe in ourselves. It's not something that's easy. I love this next slide, Ashraf.
Oh, this is going to be the imagination. You know, the magic word is attitude. You know, if you go into, I've been listening, and many of my friends, they said, you know, attitude, if you're going to plug it together, like 1 is A, 2 is B, and you go until 26, please see it there. You'll see the only word in English language that 100% is attitude. See, our attitude can govern us, can take us wherever we were going to go, our attitude. So how are we going to feed that kind of attitude from all of these kind of negativity that we are living in? We have some competition from our spouses, from our brothers, the community, the peers, everywhere, they be negative. But here, your attitude, if you're going to tune it up for your success, it's going to be there and you're going to be successful just because of your right attitude, which is going to be as a positive attitude. Here, Bob Proctor, we're going to show you all of these type of attitude. Even if you have zero money, you can do it. And I have so many stories that I established my company with zero money. I'm literally not zero, because I was thinking about by millions, but I have something where I can go, but my attitude, wherever I go, that I want to build, I want to do this. I mean, I want to establish this company. People, they believe in my attitude, not in the project itself. Because the project itself can be papers, and I can pay maybe thousands of dirhams just because of that, to show that they're there. But people will see your attitude.
Well, you know, Henry Ford said it the best. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's up to your attitude. Here's courage. You see, Steve Jobs, this was a brave soul.
Yes.
Rest his soul. You have to have the courage. This is the most valuable person is you. And you have to have the courage to believe in your value and your worth. And that goes back to that worthy ideal. You have to, if you want to live the life that's in your dreams, the life that you have only seen in your imagination, these are the steps you have to follow. And you've got to have guts, as we say in Canada, you've got to have moxie to follow your heart and your intuition, because your heart and your intuition somehow know what you truly want to become. You know, Bob says that when we meditate and pray, we're speaking to God, but when we use our imagination and our intuition, God is speaking back to us. It takes courage because, you know, as Ashraf said, people are going to tell you you're crazy, you're nuts. We have an expression in Thinking into Results that you use uncommon sense. You practice the illogical. Because if you want to reach something that is beyond your reach, but you know you can do it, you have to be illogical. If you want to stay where you are, stay in the logical mind. Stay up here like Bob's dog that can see and hear and feel and all of those things. But for us to grow, to become who we are born to be, we need to use intuition, imagination, will, memory, perception, belief in ourselves.
Good. So that's how we're going to leave
There's one more after this.
Yes. Okay. So the important thing is that how you're going to increase yourself, that we're going to have it all, because what we do now, we have to have it for everybody. The success number that you have to put people in front of you, you have to put other people in front of you, and then you're going to grow with people, with your community, with your friends that can grow.
You know, Napoleon Hill, when he wrote his book, Think and Grow Rich, which took him many, many years, and he interviewed something like 20,000 people who had failed and maybe 1,000 who had succeeded, including, you know, Rockefellers and all those people. And he found that people who succeeded had two things in common. They always went the extra mile. They always did more than what they were being paid for. And they always left everyone with an impression of increase. That when that person left, when that person leaves you after you've met with them, whether it's a client, your family, your friends, just imagine if we really focused on people feeling better after they were with us. You know, we've got to speak up, we've got to speak well. This is one of the number one keys of success. And you know, so many times you meet very successful, wealthy people. Now, not all. I know there are some wealthy people who are not nice people, but generally speaking, in my experience, the wealthier, or should we forget the wealth? Let's just talk about the more successful people are, the kinder they are. My dear late mom, because they got enough money, they can afford to be kind. But that's why they have enough money. Because they understand that you must leave people with the impression of increase.
Good.
And
Okay.
finally, you learn to magnify the mind, because the secret, this is the secret. Now we're back to imagination, you see. The will and the mind, when we focus on it using imagination, it's like a magnifying glass to the sun. It just starts fire inside you. It ignites something inside you. You know, Bob is correct. The human imagination, the human mind is the greatest thing of all human creation, of all creation. This is what separates us from Bob's dog. That we have this ability through using our minds to create what it is that's in our heart, what's in our desire. And you shouldn't know how to get there. As a matter of fact, many teachers, Mary Morrissey, Bob Proctor, all of these great teachers say, it's not your business how. You need to know what it is you want. Don't worry about the how, because it's physics. Remember, that's what Einstein said. It's not philosophy, it's physics. When you begin to keep putting out that vibration of your mind of this is what I want, and I step into that position as I am the person already who has that dream, you begin to start fires. Beautiful things begin to happen to you. So we want to, when we talk about mindset is everything. Well, I mean, some people are happy being in their comfort zone, that's some people are going to be there. But, in my 50 years of coaching, and I've coached from kids all the way to top CEOs to world-class bankers, professors, doctors, you name it. I have never once, and I've coached some, when I was in New York, I came across some CEOs that were pretty nasty human beings, didn't really have great values. But when I said to them, what kind of world would you like for your children to live in? Without fail, 100% of them said, I would like it to be a better, safer, kinder world. I've never met anybody, and I've met some nasties who said, yeah, I want the world to be worse. No, it's not natural. You see, some people may be gregarious, some people may be timid, some people may be bullies, but underneath it all, I've never met a single person who says, yeah, I want to see the world go to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, I want to see cheaters robbing everything. Never. And think about it. I don't think that you have either. So before we have one more slide, but we'll go to that at the end. And we'd really like to open it up now to any Q&A that you have. And I have to tell you, we make mistakes all the time. We have to love ourselves. We have to be gentle with ourselves. I'm having a very hard time loving myself right now for the problems that we had with the slides. But I hope that we've been able anyway to transmit to you the value of this work that we're doing. So if there are any questions before we come to our very conclusion, please, comments. They don't have to be questions, comments. You can disagree, you can, whatever it is you have to say, kindly come forward and tell us what it is you have to say. Maybe we could look to in the chat there.
Wonderful. Ashraf and Paddy, I think that was an amazing session, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers would agree with your point of view. Do we have any questions? If you have any questions, you could either type it in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. Yeah, Lauren, please go ahead.
Yes, again, wonderful session. This is knowing the person above Ashraf and Paddy. This is what I was expecting. So congratulations and thank you for this gift. One thing I wanted to know, is there a way that the conscious mind can train the subconscious mind to go in a certain direction?
Is there a way that we
can train our subconscious to go?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Laurent, this is what this entire class is about. I began to study with Bob Proctor in 1995, and I couldn't do it. I didn't have the mental strength. I didn't have the fortitude of courage and character to really do this work. But I'm older now and time is passing, and it's become and my life has grown. And, I've built a lot of my dreams, and I've understood now how I've done this. And I've done this through meditation, affirmation. Every morning in my journal, I do my I am exercise. I am strong. I am fierce. I am capable. I am successful. I am. It's an ancient old exercise. I mean, it actually comes from the Bible. So yes, we can, but it takes practice. You know, as we do this course, you do one lesson. We who are becoming certified and who are coaches and consultants in the Proctor Gallagher Institute, you do the lesson in the morning for an hour, and then you repeat the lesson for an hour in the evening. So, and you do this for 2 weeks before you're allowed to go on to the next session. And when I'm going to tell you, when you do lesson 2, which is the knowing and doing gap, you get so sick and tired of saying, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know I shouldn't have eaten that cake. Well, why did I eat that cake? Well, I ate that cake because, and you get so sick and tired of that gap, and you just say, okay, I'm going to make these changes. And it's a whole program on how you do that. You write long lists of what you want in your goals, and then we work with you to pick 2. You pick 2 at a time. It could be a professional and a personal, because you don't want to overwhelm. If you overwhelm yourself, you're going to get derailed. Thinking is hard. That's why people don't want to do it. Taking control. You know, I love Louise Hay and these people who have studied the mind and the human mind, and we're all the same here. There's nobody that's any different than anybody else. The mind is like this little roving reporter that goes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Well, you can't do that. That's not good. And it's just constantly filling us with stories, all kinds of things. I'm seeing a comment, anger and unhappiness come from which mind? It comes from the way you're thinking and what you have filtered down into your subconscious mind. If you tell yourself every day, this is no good, I hate this. Why am I doing this? I hate that person. I hate this job. I don't like this. That's what you're telling the subconscious mind. It doesn't say, wait a second, back up. The mind will say, I hate this. The subconscious mind is going, okay, good. If you hate it, then that's the vibration that I'm going to be in. If you want to change the vibration, you got to change the thought. And like the Buddhists say, we are the thinkers of our thoughts. So you see, now when my mind, because my mind still, and I've been studying this a long time, and I have to say thank you very much for that rather useless information. But today I'm taking control of my mind. I'm the person doing the thinking. The human mind, like the human ego, it really wants to protect us. Oh, you better not do that. You can't earn that kind of money. You can't do that. That dream's, what are you, an idiot? Because it wants to protect us. Doesn't want us to hurt. But we have to override that because we are not born to sit on the sofa eating potato chips, living in our comfort zone. We are born with greatness. We are not animals. We're not dogs. We're not cats. We have this mind. And it's up to us if we want to achieve. I mean, nobody has to do anything if they don't want to. But I can tell you, in my 50 years of coaching, I have more clients with broken dreams than I do with fulfilled dreams. And broken dreams lead to broken hearts. And broken hearts lead to stress and anxiety and sickness and alcoholism and obesity. All of these things that we fall prey to are because we do not take control of our thinking. We are the hardest lesson I've learned. I've been teaching this meditation and this stuff since the 90s, and I'm still working on it. I'm still saying, shh, shh, thank you for that useless information. Thank you for that very hurtful information, but it doesn't serve me, so I'm not going to listen to it today. And we have to, it's an ongoing thing. Just like Bob says, we've got to develop our imagination. That's the opposite, to be free in our imagination like we were when we were children. That's the opposite of that negative thoughts. If you want to take control and build a good, strong subconscious mind, feed it. Because whichever one you feed, the positive or the negative, that's the one that's going to grow. That's the one that's going to lead to the vibration. That vibration is going to lead to the action, and that action is going to take you to the results. These are the laws of nature. This is the law of attraction, the law of transmutation. These are the laws of nature. This is physics. This is not philosophy.
Thank you, Paddy, for that wonderful explanation. There was one more question on the same lines. It was Rumbi. Rumbi, if you want to ask the question.
Rumbi is my client.
Oh, okay. So the question was, when clouded with negative distractions or strongholds from past experiences, how do you continuously align your mind to focus on the positive and that which you desire?
But we keep saying this ain't easy. It's not easy. It takes discipline. It takes courage. You know, you don't know me. I went from being an almost Olympic athlete and I ended up in a wheelchair and you're never going to work again. And I was severely disabled. And I learned something that is really well recognized in medicine now. But when I first learned it many years ago, people thought it was quackery, and it's called cognitive restructuring. And so what I did was I put an elastic band around, and I ended up with a bunch of really nice bracelets that were made with elastic. And when I get into that, I can't do this. I'm never going to be able to do this. I'm never going to be able to work. I'm never going to be able to succeed. I go snap. You want to do something that gives you a little tweak of pain, and you immediately, because it's to wake you up. And you say, wait a second, I can do this. This is easy. I can do this. And so you have to have that discipline. And I say this to my clients all the time. Get an elastic. Not too tight because you don't want it cutting off the circulation. But when you catch yourself, and it takes time, you've got to discipline yourself. You've got to have, that's why that goal has to be something that you're willing to grow. You just snap that elastic and you say, wait a second. I can do this. And then you do the I am worthy. I am smart. I am brilliant. I am powerful. I am successful. I am strong. Because what you feed the subconscious, it cannot reject it. So you can say, I can't do this. I can't do this. And if you catch yourself there, that's going to be your vibration. And I know Rumbi, and this is a young woman who's going to set not only Zimbabwe, but Africa on fire, because she has this powerful, powerful, I can do it attitude. So whenever we all go through this, every one of us, because every one of us has had a teacher, shut up and sit down, or stupid, or a brother, or a sister, or even a parent who said, you know, I was always called the dumb one in my family, because I was an athlete. Oh, dumb Paddy. And I believed it. For Paddy can't sing. Paddy can't do this. Paddy can't do that. And finally, it took me a long time. Finally, I said, no. Because you know what? People were saying, well, you're such a sad sack. The vibration I was giving off was negative. People didn't want to be around me because I was like, no, well, I'm sick and no, I can't do this. Until finally, I went to visit a dear friend of mine who was dying. And you know what? He said, please don't come back. Oh, I thought I was doing the right thing, visiting this man before he died. I said, why not? He said, because I'm the one dying and you're sitting there and everything is negative. Please don't come back. I will never forget it. Boy, oh boy, did I ever pull up my socks. I started snapping that elastic and I started to change my vibration. And we were able to resume our friendship by the grace of God. And by the time he passed, we were in a very beautiful place. So it can be done, but it takes discipline, courage, faith, desire, training. Not going to fall out of the sky.
And repetition.
And repetition. You got to do it over and over until you train the new way of thinking. It just you were told all these negative things repeatedly. So you believe them. Now you got to tell yourself the opposite repeatedly. That's why we do the program in the morning and at night, and each session for at least 2 weeks, because we have to repeat it over and over and over. And I promise you, you do knowing and doing gap that many times, and you just start to change. It just happens because you can't stand this negativity.
When you want to erase a bad habit, which is being glued there in your mind for centuries, now you're going to take it that easy? No way. You have to take it with patience, with belief. And you have to believe that they're going to snatch it out from there. That's the essence.
You know, the late, great Wayne Dyer, whom I loved with so much of my heart, I miss him. He said the only way to change bad habits is by focusing on your strengths. And do you know how many people are walking around the world right now thinking about what they don't want? Stop thinking about what you don't want and get to the other end of the spectrum and focus on what you do want, because that will change your vibration. And if you can see it, you can get it, but you got to have discipline. And when you have a problem, guess what? We never have a problem for which there is no solution. Every problem that we conjure in our mind, we can also conjure the solution. So we need to stop saying, well, I don't want that. Oh no, I don't like that. We need to say, I want, I am, I love. That will change your vibration. When you change your vibration, then your actions will change, and then your results will change. And that way you'll begin to actualize through action what it is that you want to build, what your dream is. And remember that no action is still action. So sitting there in the comfort zone, saying, I'll do it tomorrow, is a choice.
And remember that we have studied that Bob Proctor's or Ellen Nightingale book, Think and Grow Rich.
No, Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. I read it in 1993 and I built my factory. Why is that? Because I was thinking that I am rich. I'm doing that one. And rich is not because of the money. Rich is with my behavior, with my attitude, with my beliefs, with the way I present myself, self-image. So when I went to the bankers there, they thought, oh, this guy, somebody behind him. So we have to, I have to say, Phil, and believe you, believe me, that's what I did. It's just like I'm thinking that I'm already having that money where I'm asking. So is there, you can transfer yourself from this negativity to be very positive, and people will see it in you. People will see it.
Because your vibration, you know what? We can have every word, we can say every word known to humanity. People will believe your vibration before they will believe your word. They will feel you before they trust you. And you know this, we all know this, we've experienced it. When you're having a bad day and you've got negative energy and you go to the grocery store and it seems that the clerk that's cashing you and she's nasty. And then you go over here and you're driving, you accidentally cut somebody off and you're driving and they're honking at you. And, when you're in that negative space, we do this subconsciously, unconsciously. And it can be fixed. It's up to us though. It's not easy.
Got that. That was an amazing explanation. Thank you so much. We have one more question. I think there's time for 2 more questions. Question from Swastik P. Anger and unhappiness comes from which mind? The conscious or the subconscious?
Well,
And the second question, secondly, we often think we're telling a lie while telling an affirmation. So how to do it?
the first question is, if you go around in your conscious mind saying, I hate that, I'm so angry, I'm so being, that's exactly the subconscious mind goes, oh, okay, today we're doing hatred and anger. And then that becomes the vibration. And so it comes from the conscious mind, filters down into the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind cannot reject. It can only accept what is going on up here. Whatever you are thinking is going to lead to the results. So if you're thinking angry, I hate that person, I hate this job, I hate my car, I hate my life. I hear people say this, I hate my life. Oh my God, how can you hate your life? It's the most magnificent thing in the entire universe. How can you hate your life? But why do you hate your life? You hate your life because you hate your life. Because you're in this blue circle. If you want to change it, you got to say, wait a second, I love this. And the other one about lying. So when you were a little kid and you had an imaginary friend, or you pretended that you could fly like Superman, you weren't lying. You were imagining. Walt Disney is probably one of the greatest examples of the human imagination. I mean, they told him that Mickey Mouse was just never going to go anywhere. Are you kidding? How long has it been since Mr. Disney is dead? And there's theme parks and Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse greet you when you get there.